Okay, we're live. Welcome to the channel. I wanted to share a little video on the old CX500 here that I've had for quite a few years now. Wanted to just share what a great machine these really are and why they have such an extensive following all across Canada, United States, Australia, Europe. These bikes are still in service and doing really well. A lot of people love them. I'm just going to tell you a little story about this particular bike. I picked this up, I don't know, probably 6, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. And went for a ride with some friends of mine. We took it up from Highway I-90 to I-94 across the Sarpy Highway over to Forsyth. That's probably about 80 miles. Stopped, had some lunch, and got back on the bikes, heading down the road, and I noticed my temperature gauge was way up, right up into the red. So I slowed her down and got the temperature drop a little bit. Long story short, the cooling fan, which is driven, it's bolted right onto the end of the camshaft behind the radiator. That fan had just blown apart in there, and one blade had taken out one of the cores in the radiator, and fairly quickly I lost my coolant. Well, what am I going to do? I'm about 70 miles from home and out on I-94. And so I thought, well, you know what? I've got to go home. There's no way I can do anything but just go and just take a risk on it. So drove the bike all the way home. Never missed a lick. But made it home safely. The bike still ran fine. I fixed the radiator. Come to find out that the extra heat had taken my stator out. So I had to pull the engine out, put a new stator in it, and while I was doing that, I put in the heavy-duty stator. It gets rid of those two small coils that will allow you to start it with push starting. The heavy-duty doesn't have those. Those two coils are wired so fine that it takes very little to burn them out. So this has a heavy-duty stator. Well, along with that, I upgraded the ignition system to the Ignitec ignition system. It's been flawless. It works really good. So I've been riding this bike all these years now with the Ignitec ignition. While I was into it, I did the triple bypass, the timing chain and the water pump. And what was the other thing? Anyway, that's done. That was the stator, of course, yes. So it hasn't given me a lick of trouble since then. I ride it regularly. Just a wonderful old machine. I did put an electric fan in it, which I have a thermostatically controlled fan, but I also put in an override switch so I can turn that fan on. If I see that if nothing's the fan, if it ever creeps up towards hot, I can turn that on no matter what and cool the engine right off. But I've never had to do that. It works just fine. But I just thought I'd share with any of you who are debating whether you want to start into one of these old CX500s or the 650 version or the GL version. If you can get one of these, they are a good bike. What you might bank on, though, is having to do the triple bypass thing. It's a bit of a deal, but you can get the parts for them. If you get do the timing chain, the water pump, and the stator, and then I would recommend you do the Ignitec, or there's another, the Ray Band, I think it's called, ignition system is another good one. That a lot of the people on the forums talk about. But the Ignitec was recommended to me by David Weiner. He was the real big guru on the CX500 forum. Unfortunately, we lost him a while back. I spent a lot of time on the phone with David. He was so helpful and congenial, just a real wonderful man. But I was pretty intimidated at digging into this bike and doing the triple bypass. But there's now some really good videos on YouTube if you want to do that. It's not that hard to do, and parts are available for these. Um, so yes, if you can find a good buy on one of these, even if it looks like a basket case, they're generally, well, I'm telling you what this one went through. There is one other thing I'd like to mention. When it got hot, the on this side of the engine, both of the valve adjustment screws with the lock nuts, they backed out, and the screws themselves found their way down into the bottom of the crankcase. They're still laying in there. I tried to get them out of there, but I couldn't. I put a magnet down under the case that might, it's attached at the bottom. Hopefully it'll capture them. Nothing's happened in all these years, so I think we're fine. I bought another set of rocker arms with the adjustments on eBay and got it all tightened up. But when you do a valve adjustment on these things, make dang sure they're tight. Get them really tight so that doesn't happen to you. But anyway, I thought I'd share this little bit of information with all of you out there. This is why these bikes are so popular. They're very, very rugged. An amazing engine. They really are an amazing engine. Being liquid cooled, I've had them apart with one had 47,000 miles, one I had years ago, and I pulled the head off just to see what was inside there. It still had beautiful cylinders with the crosshatch was all very good in there. I just put her back together and I put a new water pump in that one. But I thought I'd share that with everybody. So that's pretty much all I've got to say on this one. I put a little 12-volt thing on here so I can, when I'm taking video, I can keep my camera battery charged up. And my wife made me these little CX500 custom stickers on her Cricut machine, so I gave her something to do. But it turned out really nice. This gray here is actually it's actually the color of an old Saturn SL2 that I painted years ago, and I had a half a pint of paint left over, so I painted this bike with it, and another one actually, and it's got a clear coat. But anyway, that's my story. If you appreciated this little bit of information, give me a thumbs up. You can go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Share this with other of your friends that are looking for a vintage bike. This bike is almost 45 years old now, so to still be in service and dependable, that's quite a thing. To have something that old that you can actually really depend on to go on a long ride with. It's they're just an exceptionally good bike. Still got the original rings, bearings, and all that in there. I just did the triple bypass on there about, like I say, probably 5 to 7 years ago. Somewhere in there is when I did that. I don't even think about it anymore. It's this little device here has got a little window that tells you how much it's charging. It charges just under 14 volts, about 13.9 most of the time. And anyway, there you go. We'll see you in the next video.